What up? Good morning. How we doing? Can we get? Am I hearable? Can you guys hear me? These morning streams, man. I don't think I'll ever get used to it. It's just, whew. Getting up at 6 a.m. streaming at 8 a.m. Bro. What is this? A normal life? What? Man, I hope you guys are having a good weekend. I know Sunday's the hardest day to wake up early, but there's a lot of baseball today, and I'm just so stoked that baseball's back. What a crazy first couple days it's been. I think I read every team has played 2 games, and there's only 3 teams that are 2-0. Like, 60 games of this is going to be nuts, man. The race for playoffs is going to be wild. A lot of people mad about the expanded playoffs. Dude, I'd be stressed out of my mind if we had normal playoff system on 60 games, man. Oof. A lot of dogs went over yesterday, man. The Yankees get beat. The Dodgers get beat. The Indians got beat. There's a couple of couple surprises out there. The Red Sox got beat by the Orioles. Like, man, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What's up, chat? What's up, Pat Nasty? What up, Sean Garfield? Dang Lazy Mofo. What up, Donald? Good morning, you guys. It's bang time, y'all. Let's open it. Oh, yeah. Love the sound. Is this preseason MLB? Nah. It feels like it, right? A lot of pitchers ain't stretched out. I mean, pitchers aren't going 5 innings, much less 4 innings right now. It's wild. Pop in the bang. That's what we do. Black cherry vanilla. No other way. No other way. Anyway, we've got a full slate of games today. I guess we'll turn the music off, though. I'll tell you, I'm vibing right now. I'm vibing. A full slate of games today. We got 13 games on the FanDuel main slate. You're going to chop 2 of those games off for the DraftKings main slate. It'll be 11 over there. Plenty of spots to look at for bats. Plenty of spots to look at for pitchers. I mean, at first glance, maybe not a full slate of aces, but you get options. You get Patrick Corbin. You get Blake Snell. Who else? We got Trevor Bower in an elite spot against the Tigers. Zach Cranky at home against the Mariners. Big spot for him. Who else we got? We got Corey Kluber on the bump. You got Shohei Ohtani on the bump. So there's at least some type of solidity in a couple of those options. Then you got a couple more big tournament options. So what are you gonna do? What up, Haz? What up, Gentry? 2 days in a row, you're living the dream. Let's go. Hey, content's coming, bro. I'm telling you, we're gonna have so much content on this channel. With NBA coming back later this week, right? Like 4 days. So I'm gonna try. I mentioned what we're gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to get NBA night streams. Since NBA is an all-day affair, and it's all in Orlando, the last game is about 8 p.m. So when that thing ends, 9:30, 10, myself and Raj maybe get on the air and talk about the next day, and that'll open my window to do some baseball content. So we're going to try to juggle both sports best I can. This channel has been rather dormant for the last 4 months due to COVID-19 shutting everything down. So if you guys want to help me shake up the algorithm a little bit, get back in the eyes of the YouTube algorithm, hit that thumbs up, share the stream wherever you can. If you haven't, hit that notification bell, hit that. If you follow me on Twitter, maybe just go retweet the stream, just get it out there. And we'll keep it. We'll keep the content coming, man. I sure appreciate you guys waking up on a Sunday morning and spending a little bit of time with me. What up, Shadow? Hey, we're seeing some old games. What up, Adrian? I don't like the early start times for NBA most of the time at work. It's gonna be it's gonna be tough, right? It's gonna be all day grinds. It's gonna be late swaps, but I think we can all agree it's probably better than nothing, right? dealing with 4 months of literally nothing, I'll take what I can get. I wasn't that desperate to go play a lot of the fringe stuff, right? The esports and the overseas sports, but I'm glad to have something that I know about back. And then we're about a month away, knock on wood, from NFL. So the month of September could be extremely crazy with all three major sports at once. And of course, hockey. If you guys are into hockey, that'll be in the mix too. So it's going to be a crazy time, NASCAR. I don't think there's ever been an opportunity for all these sports at the same time. So plenty of DFS to grind. Plenty of it. If you guys are one of the many people that have been DMing me or tweeting at me, what happened to RunDFS.com website, I think I've decided to go ahead and bring it back. I had an opportunity as a YouTube partner to do subscription-based memberships here. But I think I'm just going to try and keep the YouTube as much free as I can. Right? I still might have a membership program that for some of the like tutorial stuff, but for the most part, I think we're just going to keep the storefront at RunDFS. So up until I launch that site, which should be hopefully within a couple days. If you guys are looking to get into the premium side of things, the 24/7 Discord, access to the spreadsheets, all that good stuff, you can just DM me on Twitter, twitter.com/GundeckerSports. Price is right there on the screen. The best value right now is that 300 year end. That'll save you over $100 from paying the monthly every night. Anyway, I think we should talk some baseball, y'all. Let's get the spreadsheet open. Hopefully you guys did well yesterday. Yesterday I kind of got beat up on. I got beat up on the early. Some bad luck with the Twins. I don't want to say bad luck. The Twins just didn't come through. I got my Nelson Cruz homer. But the White Sox, man, they were one of my secondary stacks, but I just didn't have the right concoction. Like I didn't have the bottom of the order White Sox, James McCann's, the Lordy Garcias, and that was necessary. And then I did well on the single game slate on FanDuel last night. The Padres came through for me. But for the most part, yesterday was not as hot as the first 2 days. So I'm hoping today we kind of right ship again going into the weekdays. But I hope you guys did well. And if you didn't, hey, we got every day, bro, to get back in the right swing of things. So let's get into the spreadsheet, right? That says Patreon and Discord gun website cost money, or especially chat. I didn't have I probably would put the chat back on the Run DFS website, but gotta have a storefront to handle subscriptions because it's a little bit. What's the word I'm thinking? I don't know. Maybe I'm way too strapped before lock. Is the 2-3 hours before lock, and people are trying to get in, or it's like, man, I can't handle the fielding the DMs while we're doing the voice chats, and I'm working on my own lineup. So gotta have a storefront, where people can just click, access, get in there. Patreon's an option, but I'm okay with some site fees. YouTube, I'll tell you what, I would have took the YouTube partnership with a membership deal, but it's so hard to get through to like a customer support at YouTube. Whenever you need something or something happens, for instance, you guys might remember last year, I was suspended for like 2 months because I had links to DraftKings in my description. Never was explained by anyone at YouTube that. So that was a big reason for me to kind of be leery on trusting them for the whole process. So I'm still going to work as much as I can with YouTube from the offers they've given me, but it's a little bit rough to work for a corporation where you don't really like have the opportunity to talk to anybody when you need something, you know? Is the audio skipping? Let's see. Let me check the mic here. If it's only me, is the audio skipping for everyone? Let's put the mic a little bit closer and maybe turn the gain down. How's that? I sound perfect? Oh, well. Well, be sure to spam the chat if it is a widespread issue. Hopefully we're fine. All right, enough blabbering, man. Appreciate you guys being here. Let's go get cranked up into today's slate. Game number one that we want to chop up. How about the Miami Marlins at the Philadelphia Phillies? We got Jose Urena on the bump for the Marlins, taking on Vince Velasquez, a perennial DFS sweetheart. People love playing them some VV. Jose Urena was the opening day starter for the Marlins the last 2 years. He is the most experienced starter on the staff with 93 games started. He excelled in spring training, posting a 1.06 ERA and a 1.06 WHIP across 17 innings of work. Meanwhile, Vince Velasquez earned a spot in the rotation because of the improvements he made over the Corona break. He learned a cutter, and he fine-tuned a changeup to accompany his fastball and curveball. I did have the opportunity to watch quite a bit of Velasquez in the scrimmage versus the Yankees last week. He did fine. He was getting strikeouts, whatever. I think he ended up giving up 4 runs, but one of them was a 3-out home run to Judge because Girardi wanted him to get a couple extra pitches. I think Velasquez is going to light up a lot of eyes right off the bat because he's really, really cheap on both sides. 6.6K, 6.9K. The Marlins don't generally strike a whole lot of fear into the hearts of many. So I could certainly see a lot of people maybe trying to lean on Velasquez here as a tournament option to kind of get you to stack some bets. Underlying metrics, high K rates to righties. The last 2 seasons, an over 25% K rate to righties. The xFIP is high to both sides of the plate, and it's generally because of his high hard contact rate allowed. Nearly a 50% hard contact rate last year to righties. That allotted a over 2 home run per 9 and a 45% hard contact rate to lefties with a 1.75 home run per 9. If you guys have been watching Velasquez for a couple of years, you know he gives up bombs to lefties. So there is that to deal with in the back of your head. Guys like Jesus Aguilar, Corey Dickerson do have some built-in power, and even maybe some shockers in this lineup. So I don't know that I'm going to be running to play Velasquez because I do think there's maybe some safer options. I look at the last couple of days in my lineups and in my contests and trying to decide where I'm going right, where I'm going wrong. Pitching is been my strong suit, and if you guys played a couple of these guys yesterday, like Martin Perez, who else? I won't follow people for playing Darvish, but like guys like Martin Perez yesterday was 15% owned in my mid-stakes low field tournaments, and I was just like, man, people are really just playing guys, like just playing people without like a purpose, and. I don't have a whole lot of respect for the Orioles, but I got to be able to justify a pitch and play with some metrics here. So Velasquez is the guy that's not going to give me the warm and fuzzies with a high xFIP and a high Sierra for the last 2 seasons. I do think, if he turned in a decent day with plenty of strikeouts, if this Marlins lineup came up more righty heavy than lefty, I understand the case for Velasquez, but I really think right now there's still enough edge where people are getting too cute and too creative at pitcher. Where I can load up on guys like Trevor Bower, maybe some Shohei Ohtani on FanDuel, guys actual proven pitchers that can get their ways, get themselves out of trouble. And I don't know if I trust Velasquez to kind of be that guy for me. So I'd probably stay away, but I certainly wouldn't fault you for taking chances. No Jose Urena for me as well. Here's a guy that struggles with lefties as well. A 5.46 xFIP, a high average allowed, over 300 average allowed last year to lefties, and a 1.85 home run per 9 with a 44.5% hard contact rate. Big spot for the lefty masters here on the Phillies. Bryce Harper, we're waiting for his first moonshot. And then how about Didi Gregorius, former Yankee great, has homered in each game thus far. I loved him in that game against Sandy Alcantara because of his numbers against the slider. And guess what? Jose Urena is going to back up that fastball with the slider. Didi Gregorius, a 1.5 grade against that slider. So I would not be shocked if Didi keeps the streak alive so far in this young season. And then Bryce Harper's probably due up. Bryce Harper's been in Urena's division for a while, so just out of curiosity, maybe maybe see if they've had some play dates in the past. Jose Ureña's BVP against Harper. Harper has not taken him deep yet, but he does have a pair of doubles. So I could understand a case here for some Philly stacks. They have an implied run total right now of 5.4. We've been just kind of waiting for them to hit, right? It's still just 2 games into the season, but this is an offense that just seems too talented to not win a tournament before long. McCutcheon, Hoskins, Harper, Realmuto, Didi. Another thing I would say to watch out for today especially, this is game 3 of a young season, a lot of back-to-backs. A couple teams, played later in the afternoon yesterday in short turnaround. You'll probably see some catchers either DH or be rested. And it'll be real interesting to see how many catchers are DHing in the National League right now, because I do think Realmuto would be one of those candidates. If Velasquez, I'm already not excited to play Velasquez, right? If for some reason Realmuto had the day off on the plate and Velasquez caught a backup catcher, I would probably be a little less, or even more so, less interested. So something to watch out for. Marlins here, if I wanted to one-off some shots at some homers against Velasquez, certainly would look at Corey Dickerson batting over 300 against righties last couple seasons. We know he has a little bit of pop, and he doesn't strike out as much. So when Velasquez is not striking out lefties, he is allowing some high hard contact, high line drive rates. So definitely don't mind a shot at Corey Dickerson. He's 2,500. I mean, these are the kind of bats that I will gladly take shots on to go get my Trevor Bowers, go get my Zach Grinky's, guys like that. Certainly don't think I need to go crazy with the 5-6K guys, even though there are plenty of solid options today. What do you guys got on this one? I don't think I'm pitching it. Certainly could see some Philly stacks and a couple one-off Marlins, right? Van Dam says Bryce Harper stinks. My audio is wild? And I tell you what, I'll unplug the mic.
I unplugged the mic and put it back in. It's not skipping, but there's a clicking sound. Let's see. Is that any better? Better? Fixed? All right. We did. Did you guys catch all that? My bad. All right. So I did the age-old technological unplug it and plug it back in. My bad on that. But basically, guys, I'm probably not playing either pitcher. Watch out for Realmuto, whether or not he actually catches today, since it's a back-to-back. And, yeah, it don't sound like Rick Ross. Yo, that happened to me the other day. I think it has something to do. I was in a Discord call, and then I muted it, and then I came over here and I recorded some video for YouTube, and I sound like a demon. I was like, what the freak? So maybe that's what you guys heard. That's my bad. Yeah, what up, 18? Perfecto. All right. Let's get back into the action here. I like the Philly stack. I'm not pitching either pitcher. Corey Dickerson for a homer. And, yeah, next game on the docket, Yankees at the Nationals. Projected starter for the Yankees is still up in the air, but I would say that I'm expecting a bullpen game today. If we're looking at what happened last year, we saw Chad Green be an opener at times, 1 to 2 innings from him. Jonathan Loáisiga as a middle relief, long reliever. And then yesterday, that game kind of did not go the way we had hoped. So we didn't use our back-end guys, Adam Ottavino, Zach Britton, those guys. So if this game could stay close, we could have our higher leverage guys in a bullpen game. Yesterday was more guys like Michael King and just some front-end guys. They did send down Clint Frazier last night to make more spots for more relievers. So I do think this should be a decent pitching opportunity for the Yankees, because they still have some talented arms ready. Okay, 18. The Nationals will be pitching Patrick Corbin. Patrick Corbin a New York native, is going to make his second career start against the Yankees. He previously faced them at Yankee Stadium in 2013 when he fanned 7 over as many innings. And 2013, 7 years ago. So it's probably only Brett Gardner still on that team. DJ LeMay, who played half the game yesterday, in the press conference last night, he said he fully expects to play this whole game and every whole game from now until the rest of the season. So keep an eye on that. And like I said, Gary Sanchez, this game especially, since that game was later last night, and this being a quick turnaround, I'd be somewhat surprised if Gary Sanchez played today, but I definitely would be shocked if he caught today, especially in a bullpen game. So I think you'll see Kyle Higashioka as the starting catcher today, and the reason I'm going to bring that up is because I did take a look at the DraftKings tiers contest, and Gary Sanchez is in one of the tiers, so he might be just a free scratch. I don't think they would use him as a DH today. Giancarlo Stanton's been on absolute fire, so no reason to cool that bat down against a lefty, so I could certainly project a day off for Gary Sanchez. I like this Yankees lineup, generally speaking, against lefties, right? This is a lineup that is really, really shallow when it comes to lefties against elite righties. But my goodness, what a death row lineup against a left-handed pitcher. And Corbin is elite, right? 30% K rate 2 years ago against righties, 26% last year against righties. Absolutely a tough matchup. But man, oh man, a couple of hangers, and if you just ain't got it, man, oof, this team can make you pay. Giancarlo Stanton has been on a tear. Yesterday, he hit the second hardest hit ball in the StatCast era, behind only himself. And I'm just, it's probably the second hardest hit ball of all time, if we're being honest. It was a rocket, and he has looked good. He looks a little slimmer. He just looks like he's in shape and he's locked in. So whenever guys get into that locked in mode, I certainly like to ride the hot streak there. But like a Yankee stack, always like a Yankee stack. So maybe a little bit more biased here. Patrick Corbin. All right, are we back? Spectrum, yeah, it is Spectrum. Can you guys hear me? Man, we were having some issues this morning. Are we back? We back. Man, my bad, guys. This has not been a spotless stream. All right, so I was essentially saying that on a normal day, I could understand the case for Patrick Corbin here. Respectable Sierra, respectable xFIP. As a card-carrying Yankee fan, I'm not going to play him. Because I just like guys like Trevor Bower, Zach Grinky. I just feel like they're in much lower risk situations and the same, if not more, upside. I mean, Luis Castillo didn't walk away with the win yesterday. He had a tough first inning, and he still cruised to a big game. So I'm just gonna stick with those guys. So I'm not gonna get to Patrick Corbin. Definitely Spectrum. It might be Spectrum. I did upgrade. I've recently moved, right? Last week I moved to a different location. So Spectrum has given me the fastest internet I've ever had, test-wise. But yeah, little blips right there. It's a little harder when I do solo streams to kind of pay attention. Luckily, the OBS gave me an alert that said I was disconnected. So my bad, guys. My bad. Let's move on to the next game. I don't know how much you guys missed of that. As I'm going along, I'm sure some lineups will start coming out. I expect the Yankees and the Nats game lineups to drop before the end of the stream. So I can revisit that. Hopefully, we'll be good. Blue Jays at the Rays. Here we go. Another ace option. Blake Snell taking the bump for the Blue Jays. He was the 2018 American League Cy Young Award winner. He says he's fully healthy after a pair of left elbow injuries that limited him last season, and he hopes to have a bounce-back 2020 season. Snell went 6-8 with a 4.29 ERA in 23 starts last season. He'll be up against Thomas Hatch. Hatch is going to make his MLB debut with Anthony Kay expected to follow him. The club's number 23 prospect earned plenty of attention in summer camp as the, quote, sleeper in the rotation, and he'll be working on a pitch count. So no reason to really consider Thomas Hatch as an option today. I mean, if you wanted to get creative with Anthony Kay, maybe sneak into a win or something. But this is one of those spots where there's just no reason for me to touch pitching there. Blake Snell is extremely expensive on both sites, especially a site like DraftKings, 10.7K. So almost an 11K pitcher against an extremely volatile offense. I talked about Ryan Yarbrough yesterday. Built in, there is some strikeout potential here. Kevin Biggio, 28%, a bunch of 1-4, 1-5s, and then guys like Teoscar Hernandez. There is upside, and we know Blake Snell can miss some bats. A 17.7% swing and strike rate last year, increasing an already high 15% the year prior. I know his ERA wasn't where you want it to be, but as Sierra says that it's a little bit of luck involved. A 4.29 ERA meeting a 3.56 Sierra and a 3.31 xFIP. So this is definitely a combustible game because the Blue Jays are just going to be one of those young teams that will pop off when you maybe least expect it. But I think just like I don't really need to maybe take a stab at Corbin today because of guys like Grinky and Bauer, I feel like I don't need to take a stab at 11K Blake Snell. And that was kind of my reasoning for not playing Yu Darvish yesterday. This early in the season, you can't expect long leashes for guys, and I'm not. So I probably don't get too much, if any, of Blake Snell. Do we take some one-offs from the Blue Jays here, guys who hit with a lot of power against lefties? Maybe Lourdes Gurriel, pretty cheap shot on both sides. More so FanDuel, 2,600. Bo Bichette is always a solid pick. Low sample size here, but batting almost 370 so far against lefties, slugging over 600. So I don't mind a couple stabs at them. Blue Jays bullpen and a starter game here. You can dab with Rays here. G-Man Choi. Sasuga was almost a free square yesterday, even though he didn't produce. His price has gone up today. Probably still in the cleanup spot. I don't have a whole lot of inherent love for either team in terms of full stacks. One often, though, maybe a G-Man Choi if he led off. I don't even have implied run totals for this game either. It's going to be more so in a pitcher's park, and I think there's going to be other better offensive spots. So I think this game is more so tournament only. And yeah, you guys got any particular love in this one before we move on? To the next one, Lazy Mofo says, you finally moved away from the hills, have eyes area. Not really. It's about a 10, 15-mile move. I live in Waco, Texas, Baylor City now, but I was right on the outskirts, so it's still not like city, right? But it's better. Moving on to the next game here, Royals at the Indians. Royals were one of those surprising wins yesterday, right? Couple of underdogs went big. I don't have an official starter for the Royals, but we're projecting Mike Montgomery to be that guy. He is up against Carlos Carrasco. Carlos Carrasco is going to make his first start since last May. He was diagnosed with leukemia in June, and he missed 3 months before making an emotional return as a reliever in September. The Royals do have a couple of guys here with high strikeout rates, and then if we go off of this projected lineup with Merrifield, Salvador Perez, Alex Gordon, Maikel Franco, Nicky Lopez, all guys at 18% or less K rates. So probably puts Cookie or Carrasco on a wait-and-see approach for me in terms of having exposure to him. But I certainly am rooting for him. I hope he does really well because it's a great story to see him come back. If Mike Montgomery is the guy that starts this game, he is a lefty, and this is an Indians lineup that I do kind of favor against lefties. Jose Ramirez, Francisco Lindor, Santana, and especially guys like Franmil Reyes could come through. I mean, I liked him against Danny Duffy. It didn't really get what I wanted, but there is some metrics that would suggest that maybe we get a little lucky here with some Indians bombs. A 43.7% hard contact rate to righties last season did Mike Montgomery had, counting for a 1.73 home run per nine, a very low K rate, 18%, and a 4.68 xFIP. So certainly some room for Indians to thrive. And then probably don't expect them to go super deep, and that Royals bullpen is nothing to write home about either. So I'd probably start cherry picking some Indians. Indians and Royals, I don't have run totals for them. So I guess I can leave them alone. I did just get run totals for the Rays and Blue Jays. I got 3.4 on the Blue Jays and 4.8 on the Rays. 3.4 for the Blue Jays. That is low. I would probably bet the over just because baseball is baseball. That's crazy. That's crazy. We'll see if that moves. Let's move on from this game. Cincinnati Reds hosting the Detroit Tigers. Projected starters for this game: Spencer Turnbull taking on Trevor Bower. Spencer Turnbull is a guy that the Tigers are expecting big things from after he spent the offseason on his physique and nutrition while working on his pitches. He was arguably the strongest Tigers pitcher in summer camp with a hard fastball and a darting secondary pitch selection. He'll be up against Trevor Bauer. Bauer's hoping to pitch every 4 days instead of the regular 5, because why wouldn't he? He kept pitching off a mound throughout the shutdown. He believed his fastball velocity was up by at least 1 mile per hour because of his training regimen, and it would be a big season for the right-hander who becomes a free agent after this season. So he's in a rare spot in a contract year to maybe inflate some stats in 60 games instead of laboring through a full 162. Trevor Bauer's 10.1K on DraftKings, 9.7 on FanDuel. So you do have to go up there and get him, which is why I'm saying if I'm going to get to that 10K area, I feel like matchup-wise, how do I not snap call Trevor Bauer over guys like Blake Snell and Patrick Corbin just based on the matchup, right? So I think that's where I'm going to land here. This Tigers team projects really, really, really soft in terms of power and WOBA, a sub 320 WOBA all the way around for this projected lineup against righties. I know Miguel Cabrera hit a homer yesterday. I know Jacoby Jones, I think, got into one. It was a weird game. Heck, Joey Votto's got a pair of homers. But generally speaking, this is a high strikeout-prone lineup, and I think this is a great spot for Trevor Bauer. Bauer will have to get through a couple lefties here. I got 4 projected lefties or switch hitters in the lineup, but I'm willing to take my chances here. And the fact that his fastball is a little bit higher has me curious. Bauer, he's a weird one, man, but he does study the game, and I'm sure he's quite prepared after 2 days in the dugout, kind of studying this Tigers team. Being an every 4-day starter will be fun to watch, right? So give me Trevor Bauer. He'll probably be, when I make my list here, he'll probably be one of my green pitchers, meaning I kind of have the safest vibes from him. And then I'll definitely have Zach Grinky at the top of that list as well. Spencer Turnbull is a guy that had really, really good numbers last year against righties, but did have some leaks against lefties, almost a 5 xFIP, a 298 average allowed, and a 43.6% hard contact rate with a middling line drive rate. So this Reds lineup could come out pretty lefty heavy. Jesse Winker, Joey Votto, Mike Moustakas, and then not some bad righties either. Eugenio Suarez, Nicholas Castellanos in the mix. Also, the Reds called up Aristides Aquino yesterday. I think they had someone pop positive for COVID or something like that. So Aquino's in the mix. We'll see if he cracks the lineup. Aquino had an extremely hot start last year. It was more so feeling like a flash in a pan after some sample size. Him and guys like Yordan Alvarez showed up and showed out, and then they just kind of disappeared. But wouldn't be a terrible spot for him to maybe take advantage of a guy like Turnbull, who doesn't miss a whole lot of bats and does give up a little bit of favor to lefties here. Reds, do we have an implied run total for the Reds? 5.6. Woof. Reds are a minus 187 favorite as well. So a decent run total there for me to get behind a red stack. Don't see myself stacking Tigers. I think you could one off a guy like CJ Crone on FanDuel 2,700, and even on DraftKings save you some money. I obviously wouldn't have him in lineups that had Trevor Bower, but the price is right on a couple of these guys that I could take some one off shots. Yeah, that's it for that. It was Matt Davidson who played on day one, got the COVID. Yeah, okay. I was hearing that the Juan Soto positive test could have been like a false positive on a home test and not a league sanctioned test. It's all crazy to me. It's like I feel like we're living in some zombie movie because now people are just like, yeah, he tested positive. You don't even say this the disease anymore. It's just like, yeah, he's positive. Now he's a zombie. Let's move on. Orioles at the Red Sox. Orioles shocking some people yesterday, putting a hurt on the Red Sox today. They're going to be throwing Wade LeBlanc. He's a journeyman lefty. He went 6-7 with a 5.71 ERA last season for the Mariners, pitching mostly as a starter and a bulk pitcher after openers would start the game. The Orioles are his 8th team in 12 MLB seasons. Got ourselves a left-handed Edwin Jackson. Ryan Weber pitching for the Red Sox. Not only is this the first time Weber started the season in a rotation, but it's the first time he's been on an MLB roster for opening day. Red Sox are confident Weber can be successful with his combination of location and pitch mix. Stands to reason that I will not be rostering either pitcher today. However, Wade LeBlanc is a guy who throws baseballs with his left hand, and JD Martinez is a guy who has made a career off of that. I think he reached base 3 times yesterday, a couple singles and a hit by pitch, so it wasn't like he was lackluster. Maybe his points weren't what you wanted. But he's going to be extremely trendy, extremely popular. I got to say, I would assume, though, after the first 2 slates, he's on average the highest home player every day so far. So that's probably going to be another trend today. The Red Sox have an implied run total of 6.5. It's a great spot for this Red Sox stack. JD Martinez is going to be extremely, extremely popular. I got no reason to not load up on him. Last year, Wade LeBlanc, a 1.84 home run per 9 with a 296 average allowed. JD Martinez in cash games, probably in some low field single entries as well. But of course, with baseball, you can always consider how you can get leverage. And if you're on the other side of a JD Martinez fade, you might be able to leverage yourself against 30 to 40% of the field. Maybe 40 is a little egregious, but 30% in small fields, easily could see that. Kevin Pillar, another cheapie that I don't hate against lefties. Jose Peraza did bat 5th yesterday after a big first game. And then yesterday just kind of went ghost. We'll see if he goes back to that 9th spot. And Xander Bogaerts did have the day off yesterday, but he came in and pinch hit, and I think he struck out. Weber, his overall stats in the sample size we have, particularly from last year, low strikeout guy, high average allowed to lefties, high home run per 9. Again, it's hard to project the Orioles for any type of power. But if you wanted to take some shots here, we saw yesterday the Orioles can be a little bit scrappy. It's a favorable park in Fenway. Don't mind some cherry picking here because they are kind of cheap. Look at this: a 1.86 home run per 9 to lefties with just a 14% K rate and a 5.9% swing and strike rate. What's Chris Davis at 2.2K with a 3K price tag? Definitely think. I think I would have more than 0% Chris Davis today, right? If we can neutralize this 40% strikeout rate with a guy who only misses bats at a 5.9% clip, that might be a problem here. So I don't mind looking at a guy like Chris Davis for a cheap homer to offset some salary for a Grinky or a Bauer. Don't go running and playing Davis and cash or anything like that. But man, those high strikeout guys against contact pitchers that have home run problems, I'm here for that. Pregnancy test from the liquor store can't be trusted. 30% feels right for JD Mart. Yeah, he's definitely going to be super, super popular. Let's move on to the next game. Astros hosting the Mariners. I think you got to Actually, let's stop for just a second. I did get a Reds lineup. So Reds are throwing out Jesse Winker, Joey Votto, Suarez, Moustakas, Castellanos, Shogo, Josh Van Meter in the 7th spot, Freddie Galvis, who did homer yesterday, and then Kurt Casale, who also homered yesterday, rounding out the bottom of that lineup. So it doesn't really change any of my perspective there. Astros hosting the Mariners. Zach Cranky taking the bump here for the Astros. I think you'll see the Astros as one of your more sought-after stacks, and Zach Cranky also one of your more sought-after pitchers. He'll be up against Yusei Kikuchi. The 29-year-old southpaw is seeking his first win of the Astros after going 0-2 with a 5.4 ERA in 4 starts last year as a rookie, including 0-1 with a 5.43 ERA in 3 outings at Minute Maid Park. Zach Grinky, who carried a shutout into the 7th inning of Game 7 of the World Series, went 8-1 with a 3.02 ERA in 10 starts with Houston after being acquired in July. Zach Grinky is almost 11K on DraftKings, 9.6K on FanDuel. You're going to have to go up there and get him. But, man, this is a guy that has elite metrics, elite stuff against a team that does not. And he is a minus 246 favorite right now. Astros with an implied total of 5.6. So I'll definitely try to get Grinky where I can. Like I said, it's going to take getting a little cute at 1 or 2 hitter spots. A stab at a guy like Chris Davis, something like that. But I definitely will have Grinky as one of my green pitchers. Heck, McCullers turned in a not terrible DFS performance after a couple of scary early scares. And I definitely trust Grinky a lot more than a guy like McCullers. So give me that. I will have no Yusei Kikuchi. He has some problems against righties, a low K rate, high average allowed, high home run per 9. I mean, this could be the awakening for the Astros. Springer, Dinger, certainly in the cards here. Altuve, Bregman, all perennial lefty mashers. And if we go look at that hitter rating chart, I think I had Astros at the top of the bomb detector. Yep, Alex Bregman's up there. Jose Altuve's in the mix, and certainly I could see George Springer. And I actually think that most of the Astros have homers off of him. Astros BVP is a little flaky, but you say Kikuchi. We got 1 bomb for Bregman, 1 bomb for Altuve. Martin Maldonado has 1, and George Springer is 6 for 9 with 1 triple. So good spot for the Astros. They definitely profile as a stack you should seek. 3,900 for Bregman. You know, this is a guy that easily could break 4K in this matchup. I'm a buyer on the Astros stacks. I'll probably try and get him as a near core stack. But we'll see how that turns out. No Mariners for me. Keep an eye on Kyle Lewis. He's been showing a big power surge here. If you needed a cheap bat to fill a lineup, you know, so far he's shown some pop. So 2,600 on a site like FanDuel. If you didn't want to get crazy with a guy like Chris Davis, sure. See what you guys got in the chat before we move on. Love the Reds. Not even a 10 on the Eastern Front. They sent out their lineups. Yeah, I also got the Tigers lineup came out too. So I guess that game just submitted it. Astros feel like they're going to be the play over Boston. Yeah. So let's be honest. When we look at that Boston lineup, it's like no one. It's JD Martinez, right? But you didn't wake up on a Sunday morning, you're like excited to play Christian Vasquez, Kevin Pillar. Like you put 4 names from Boston in a lineup, and you're just like, I like JD. You got some household names on the Astros: Springer, Altuve, Bregman, Gurriel. Like there's names on Astros that makes you feel like they could all come through at any given time. Boston doesn't give me that same warm and fuzziness, right? Let's go back for a second. Let's go put in this Tigers lineup in the spreadsheet. Got Nico Goodrum leading them off. Jonathan Scope, Miguel Cabrera, CJ Crone, Kristen Stewart, Harold Castro in the 6th spot. Victor Reyes, Grayson Griner, and Jacoby Jones. So only 1 switch from the projected lineup. We'll take it. Let's move on to the next game here. Twins at the White Sox. What a series this has been, man. An absolute slugfest one day to the next. On the wrong side, on the right side. Freaking bottom of the White Sox lineup goes bananas yesterday. some kid came in out of the bullpen for the Twins. I think his name's Littell. Within 15 pitches, he'd given up 3 home runs. It was stunning. Today, we're going to see Kenta Maeda taking on Ronaldo Lopez. Kenta Maeda has been ramped up to 84 pitches in his last tune-up of spring training, which should set him up for 90 to 95 pitches in his regular season debut. He last faced the White Sox in 2017 as a member of the Dodgers. He'll be up against Ronaldo Lopez. Lopez feels as if he's in a good place mentally and physically. He's adjusted his focus to avoid one mistake turning into the issue of a big inning, which was a problem plaguing him in 2019. Pitching-wise, I think I'm staying away from this game. Stack-wise, load them up, man. Both teams are extremely talented, extremely volatile, and all bets are off once the bullpen gets involved. I thought, man, the Twins are a team I thought, and I still believe their bullpen's going to be better, but yesterday was a little bit stunning at times, especially the fact that it was like the bottom of the White Sox lineup. But so far, this series has been 10-plus runs every game, right? So I'm going back to the well here. Max Kepler should be your leadoff guy for them today. We saw what happened in his last game leading off. He had a pair of homers. He's really cheap on FanDuel, 3K. The twin stack overall is pretty cheap. And Ronaldo Lopez just comes into this game with extremely high xFIP to both sides, especially lefties. A 1.64 homer per 9 to lefties with a 602 xFIP. The metrics are screaming to play Max Kepler. Let me go check out the pitch report here for Ronaldo. Ronaldo is going to throw fastball, slider, changeup, and Kepler hits the slider pretty well. But Ronaldo has a pretty negative grade, or has a negative grade on his fastball. Yeah, I'm digging Kepler here. Kepler's in an okay price point. Low average, but man, this is a pop spot, man, a super pop spot. Jorge Polanco can make the mix. Nelson Cruz is in the mix too. This guy gives up homers to righties as well. 1.8 almost homer per 9 last year to righties. Cruz sent one over the left field wall yesterday off of Cishek. Side armor. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Cruz. I think Eddie Rosario's in the mix. I'm going to be stacking both teams here, and I think that's going to be a common occurrence for me throughout the season. Kenta Maeda, not going to make the mix for me. Yeah, not going to make the mix for me. I still have some respect for Maeda, right? In the Dodgers, he was serviceable. Has some leaks against lefties. Yoan Moncada can get to him. Yeah, Yasmani Grandal had the day off yesterday. Should be back in the lineup, so you get an opportunity at a cleanup catcher at a pretty okay price point on FanDuel. DraftKings 45, maybe that makes you feel a little uncomfortable at a catcher spot, but certainly think this game could turn into another shootout. And I definitely think twin stack. I'll go back to the well, right? Yesterday they were kind of dry for me. I'll go right back to the well and sit at that slot machine because I think they'll pay out at a really, really, really decent clip, right? I think Grandal used to catch for Maeda back in the Dodgers day. Yeah, I could see that. What up, Armando Alejandro? All right, Cardinals hosting the Pirates next on the docket. We got Dakota Hudson taking on Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller earned a spot with his top of the rotation stuff and high-end potential, but he struggled as a rookie. His underlying numbers indicated a better days ahead. The Bucks believe those days will come. So essentially, look at his ERA being 7.13 last year, but his Sierra was under 4, his xFIP under 3.5. Does look like he has been the victim of unluckiness, a high average allowed. I can only assume that means his BABIP was through the roof. So let's go investigate, shall we? Mitch Keller. Let's go to splits. And then we'll control F the term BABIP. He had a 500 BABIP to lefties and a 453 to righties. Yeah, poor kid. Oh my God. Could you imagine? Bro, what did he have? Me playing shortstop behind him? That's crazy. Okay. Dakota Hudson In his first year, the rotation last year, Hudson led all first-year pitchers with 16 wins, and his 3.35 ERA was third lowest among qualified rookies. Hudson enters 2020 looking to build on that consistency and success as the Cardinals' number 3 starter. Total-wise, we got a 4.9 implied run total for the Cardinals, a 4.2 total for the Pirates. I probably don't expect a lot of runs being generated here. I'm going to project regression to the mean here for Mitch Keller eventually. Did not give up a whole lot of power. Hard contact is fine, right? 38% is about league average. So nothing, and the strikeout potential's there as well. 26%, 30%. He might be a really sneaky tournament play. So, like I mentioned, who's that pitcher we were talking about at the top? People playing Velasquez on FanDuel at 6'6". Dude, I feel like the metrics would tell me to take a stab at Mitch Keller here at 6'5". A much friendlier pitcher's park against the Cardinals. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 6 guys with over 1-4, over 1-5 strikeouts against righties. I'd be a buyer on that. Let's look at the pitch report for Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller, fastball, slider. The fastball was really negative in terms of weighted runs created, but it's not like a fastball dominant team. I'm a little bit curious here. I might put Mitch Keller in the orange today and have some shots at him. Dakota Hudson, a little bit of price differential here between FanDuel and DraftKings. His xFIP against lefty is alarming. I was kind of flirting with the idea of playing like Brian Reynolds and Josh Bell yesterday, but I ended up not needing to get there salary-wise, so I didn't get much exposure. Actually, I didn't get any exposure to them. But on a day like today where I do have a hankering for these high-end pitchers, these high-priced pitchers, the 9-10K guys, Trevor Bowers and Zach Grinkys, I might take a stab here. High walk rate to lefties the last 2 seasons, high hard contact rate, high line drive rate. I mean, definitely some underlying metrics that can give me a shot at gambling on these lefties. He's the opposite of Mitch Keller. His Sierra and xFIP saying that he's been lucky, and Mitch Keller's Sierra and xFIP saying that he's been unlucky. So I can kind of flip that there and take a stab at a Bell and a Reynolds and guys like that. But other than that, not a whole lot of invested interest in this one. It projects to be a little bit lower, but it is over 90 degrees in St. Louis today, so maybe the ball will carry just a little bit more than usual, right? Feels like a Josh Bell pop spot. Yeah, I could see that. Let's move on to next game. Cubs hosting the Brewers. That game got a little weird yesterday. We saw a couple of lefty-on-lefty bombs. I think Yelich got one and Schwarber got one. Schwarber got it off of Suter. Was not expecting that. Freddie Peralta on the bump today. Tyler Chatwood for the Cubs. Peralta has been dubbed Fastball Freddie. He has a new 5-year contract and a new weapon, a slider, which he honed during winter baseball. He's worked in every role from a starter to middle to relief to closer, and he could again in 2020 just be a utility option. Tyler Chatwood starting again after serving as an effective swingman in 2019. Last year against the Brewers, he had a 1.26 ERA with 23 strikeouts, 9 walks, 7 hits allowed in 14 and a third innings. That's right, 9 walks in 14 and a third inning. That's a problem for him, especially against lefties. In the last 2 years, he's had a 12 and 17% walk rate against left-handed hitters, and an extremely high walk rate at home in 2018, and then last year still over 10%. So I mentioned it earlier at the top of the stream. We do have some potential wind issues here in Wrigley. Right now I'm showing wind blowing to dead center at 14 miles an hour, and it's over 90 degrees there. So certainly some extra elements to favor hitting today, and maybe a couple of warning track fouls turn into home runs due to the weather, the temperature, and the wind. Tyler Chatwood was an extreme ground ball pitcher, so maybe that'll neutralize some of those. But man, Freddie Peralta, 40 to 50% fly ball rate with high hard contact rates, and last year a high line drive rate. That could be a problem for him. So we'll see if he can neutralize these numbers with his high strikeout percentage and his 13% swing and strike rate. So this is gonna be one of those games that happen a couple times a year where we're just really annoyed and we feel a little bit more pressure to be exposed to Wrigley because of the wind. And as the day goes by, people will hype up the wind more and more. We've seen that play out both ways, right? I think I saw a tweet earlier. I haven't validated it, but apparently the under hits 60% of the time in this situation because it gets so hyped up to have like a 10, 11 run total. Right now the run total is at 5.7 for the Cubs, 5.4 for the Brewers, so 11 runs, right? We'll see if that pushes 12 and 13 and whatnot, and if public pushes that money even higher. But man, all bets are off, right? Because these guys probably don't go too deep anyway. Tyler Chatwood has a knack for wasting pitches and have to get the old heave-ho early. And then it's just bullpen versus bullpen. So certainly would stand to reason if you're running multiple lineups to try and get a couple of stacks, if not a lot more, based on ownership as the day progresses. Because certainly guys that could take advantage of the situation here. Yeah, that's it. That's it for that one, right? Christian Yelich. Yeah, Yelich went Yabo yesterday. The thing about Yelich is he almost needs to. He was 6K yesterday. He's only 56 today, so he dropped to 400 in price. But that's still up there. That's upper echelon price-wise for hitters. He's the most expensive hitter. Austin Meadows was 54. What? 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 But he's still the most expensive hitter on the slate. So you probably have the highest standard for him, right? Like in a 1v1, and it doesn't make like too much sense here because how much? Where is JD Martinez? Martinez is 5K. Okay, so he's still 600 more than JD Martinez. I feel like I take the savings on Martinez all day in a 1v1 price, not withstanding. So hard to get the warm and fuzzies there. But yeah, Yelich is in a great spot, and all these Brewers kind of woke up yesterday. Justin Smoke hit a bomb yesterday. Braun had the day off, but we know historically Ryan Braun and Wrigley has done pretty well. So certainly two teams that I wouldn't talk you off. And Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, all guys that could excel here if they can stay away from these strikeouts, because Peralta does have high K rates. Again, we take those K rates with a grain of salt because he did come out the bullpen, and you're putting a much more favorable matchup specifically. And, of course, you can throw a lot harder for a lot shorter. So maybe these 30% K rates regress to 26%, but still decent strikeout stuff, right? The teams did get a little testy. There's a couple inside pitches, a couple hit-by pitches, some bad blood. So I'm sure they would, both teams are looking to maybe rub it in if they get ahead big, right? What up, Billy? Just woke up. Love to see Stream Life is back. For every team to bet on today, if I had a free $100, probably Astros. But if you're just talking money line, that's probably not going to be worth it. Because they're going to be over 250. I wouldn't even mess with that. How long till the Mariners trade Kyle Lewis? They love to trade the home run hitters. I mean, as a rebuilding team, I don't know if Lewis is the guy they're trying to rebuild around, but this is a team that needs way more chips. You're not you need more than one or two guys to rebuild around. They need pitching, they need everything. So maybe they shop them, see what happens. Certainly teams that could use them. And it just gives you more picks, more international pool money, stuff like that for the future. The Jays over, you like that? I do like the Jays over just because, 3 runs. We'll see if it goes down to 3, but it was 3.2, 3.3. I would bet that on almost any team, just because it's baseball, man. Bloop and a blast, and then some air, That's a low total, and that team is extremely talented. So I'd probably take shots on that. New pitcher announced for the Royals. It's not Mitch Keller, or not. Not. It's Ronald Bolaños. Okay. All right, let's back it up, huh? Let's back it up. Let's go adjust that. Seattle's 5 years out of the wild card. Freaking. I know, hey, man, I don't know if we're going to have the wild card much longer. I feel like this season with the CBA coming up, they might all opt to have an 8-team playoff like they got this year. All right, so no Mike Montgomery as a starter here. Maybe shows up in relief, but we got Bayanos. Still a righty here. We put his metrics in here. We'll do a little bit deeper diving on him. I only have sample size for lefties last year. He's a righty, so okay. But the lineup for the Royals with Merrifield, Mondesi, Jorge Soler. Salvi is playing in batting cleanup, but I wonder if he's catching, huh? Alex Gordon, Maikel Franco, former Philly great, batting sixth. Franchi Cordero, Eric Mejia, and Brett Phillips, the best laugh in the league. Does that matchup get any tougher? Dude, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 guys with 26 to 30+% K rates against righties. That's tough. All right, let's go do some digging here. Bayanos. We're going to look at his Fangraphs card. Hope you guys don't mind us backing up. But initially, we were looking at Mike Montgomery information, right? So I do want to make sure we don't change any ideas here. Last year, just 11 and 8 innings in the bigs. So we need to pull up his minor league numbers. And the way we do that is we go to MILB.com and search for his player card, Bayanos. And last year, we've got, how much sample size? His career, 324 innings pitched, a 4.38 career ERA, 27 homers in those innings pitched. Last season specifically, in Double-A, we've got 34 innings pitched against lefties with a 265 average allowed, a 1.59 whip. So I wonder if he had walk issues. 20 walks in 34 innings, yeah. And then 42 innings against righties, a 235 average, a whip a little bit lower. So it definitely looks like he has a problem with lefties, and we know that the Indians are switch hitter heavy, so they'll be able to take advantage of that. 4 homers in 34 innings pitched, so over a home run per 9. So the matchup doesn't really degrade for the Indians per se. And then it looks like if we look at his lefty numbers in the majors, that was kind of continuing, right? A 1.64 home run per 9, high walk rate, and high hard contact rate. So still a good spot for the Indians. We'll see if their total pushes any. It looks like the totals, the run lines have been taken off the board. So if you guys see the totals come back, maybe let me know. And if the Indians push like 5.5, 6, they would enter the chat as a team to potentially stack, right? Let's get back to where we were. What game were we on? We just talked about the Cubs game, right? So we can move on to the Rangers. Rangers have Corey Kluber versus Kyle Freeland of the Rockies. Corey Kluber making his first start for the Rangers after being acquired from the Indians last winter. He'll be taking the mound for the first time since May 1st, 2019, versus the Marlins, where he was hit by a line drive, fracturing his right arm. Kyle Freeland has been suffering from walks and poor location that led to a 3-11 record and a 6.73 ERA in 22 starts last season. In preparation for this season, Freeland's fastball and a more effective changeup are more reminiscent of his 17-win 2018. So far, this series, this Rockies and Rangers series in this new stadium, has been rather quiet. Kluber's interesting, right? At least on FanDuel, 8.9K. He's a slight favorite. I mean, more than slight favorite, but not like a big favorite. And we have seen, like the other night, Lance Lynn had a really solid game against the Rockies. So you put the Rockies on the road. There's definitely a path to success for a guy like Kluber, but there's a lot of question marks. First game, new catchers, and is he going to be the same Kluber? There's a lot of question marks. His swing and strike percentage was 12%, but his xFIP, his Sierra, all that was elevated. So maybe because we have alternatives in Grinky, in Trevor Bower, I probably don't dance with Kluber today, but I certainly would be watching from a distance to just kind of see how he does. And then Kyle Freeland, I mean, he's cheaper than bats that we've talked about on DraftKings, but I just don't see a reason to get to him. Really struggled with righties last season, high home run per 9. Again, we take all of his stats with a grain of salt because of Coors Field, but there's just no reason for me to ever consider him today if I wanted to pick on him. However, certainly could justify maybe an Elvis Andrus. Todd Frazier is somebody I don't hate against a lefty, particularly with maybe a lower swing and strike rate. So maybe he gets a little surprise shot here. But I don't see myself having much exposure to this game because I'm hoping that it just stays a little bit quiet, a couple home runs here and there. But I don't know that we're going to anticipate a shootout here, right? Could always put Joey Gallo in the pool. Those big double dong games are coming, and he's always like one of my favorite one-offs because he could just flip a switch at any given point, especially when the bullpen comes in. But yeah, I think that's how I'm reading that game. If you guys have particular love for anyone in this game or any of the games we talked about, throw them in chat, man. It's a group thing here. Let me know what you guys want. Hey, on DraftKings, this is the last game of the slate, right? The Rangers and Rockies? Yes. So the next two games are going to be FanDuel specific. So if you guys only care about DraftKings and you're finna skip town, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up before you leave. I appreciate that. And if you guys want to interact with me, twitter.com/Gundecker Sports is how to do it. But real quick, let's talk about these two games that are on the FanDuel slate. We've got the Padres hosting the Diamondbacks. Pitching for the Diamondbacks, Zach Gallen. You guys might remember him from the Marlins last year. He was acquired from the Marlins prior to last season's trade deadline, and he was one of their best pitchers over the final 2 months of the season. One of his best starts with the Diamondbacks came against the Padres on September 4th when he allowed just one hit and one walk over 7 shutout innings. He'll be up against Garrett Richards. Technically, Richards returned from Tommy John surgery with 3 starts late last season, but when the Padres signed him 18 months ago, it was always with an eye on 2020. Get it? Eye on 20. Okay. When healthy, Richards has shown front of the rotation stuff. Richards pretty cheap on FanDuel, 6,400. High K percentage against both sides 2 years ago. But the question mark with him is just going to be health. Is he healthy? And when he's healthy, is he going to be somebody worth playing? So we don't have reliable recent stats to really make decisions. I think if you're playing Garrett Richards on FanDuel, you're really hoping he breaks the slate or at least outdoes the other 6K guys we talked about, Mitch Keller, Vince Velasquez, guys like that. Otherwise, I feel like I don't need to get there on him. I am rooting for him because I do like Garrett Richards. I liked him in Anaheim. Zach Gallen, 8,300 on FanDuel. If you play him, you're hoping for a positive range of outcomes. His ERA is one of those situations where it performed better than his advanced metrics. His Sierra is much higher. His xFIP's higher than his ERA, so maybe he's getting a little bit lucky. But the strikeout stuff is there. 12.8% swing and strike rate last season with a 28% K rate to both sides of the plate. Positive park for him, so certainly a spot where he can sneak through, have a super good game like he did last season. 8,300. If you think they get the win, that could be a solid price point. Padres starting to get it together. Manny Machado went yard last night. Tommy Pham has 4 stolen bases so far, so it looks like he's got the green light. If he reaches and a single or a walk for him could quickly put him in scoring position, and then we know guys like Fernando Tatis are super talented. The question is, and the skepticism for me is, man, honestly, after 1 through 3, it falls off the map. And last night, Eric Hosmer was scratched due to an illness that I believe was not COVID related. So we'll see if that lingers on today. I got to assume that I'd consider him out until shown in. So without Hosmer, I mean, this is Tatis Machado fan. Profar is extremely wishy-washy. And I could certainly see Zach Gallen having a strong game if he can manage to stay somewhat clean. Maybe give up a run or two against this lineup. But boy, does this lineup fall off a cliff. So I don't hate some interest in Zach Gallen if you needed to get in that area, particularly more so on that afternoon slate, or if you're going to play a condensed slate on either site. And for the D-backs, David Peralta bats over 300 against righties. Starling Marte's flirting with 300. This is a low K, top 4 projected lineup. Could give Garrett Richards return fits. Definitely wouldn't talk you off him. David Peralta, 2,500 on FanDuel. Seems really, really cheap. And I've said it a few times today. I'm going to be really interested in just taking safety at pitcher today, because I've been seeing a lot of contests where people get super cute and curious with the Martin Perez's of the world because they want to pay up for bats. I mean, this is a sport where value's kind of not a thing, right? Like Lurie Garcia and these 2K middling guys. 2,500 for David Peralta. There's a lot of potential at that price point for FanDuel. Over 300 average, a ridiculous hard contact rate. I mean, that's a chip in a chair spot for me, and I'll probably have to have some exposure to that if I'm going to commit to the Trevor Bowers, the Zach Grinkys, and guys like that. What do you guys got here before we move on? Boo on the dad joke, yeah. I'm going to take some shots with Richards on FanDuel. Yep, Pittsburgh's lineup is very interesting for value. Got a ton of lefties at the top versus Hudson. Okay, well, let's take a look at that. We got Baltimore and Pittsburgh's. All right, tell you, let me just wrap up the last game, and then we'll go dot some I's here with some of the lineups that came out. We got the Angels at the Athletics. Bro, Dylan Bundy, man, he kept me in the hunt yesterday. Was only like 5-6% owned. I thought it was crazy that he was 6% and Martin Perez was 16% in my contest. I was like, I didn't get it, and then I just remembered, hey man, it's a lot of newer players playing DFS right now, and they're being led by some processes that maybe we don't use, right? Shohei Ohtani pitching for the Angels here. He will pitch once a week on Sundays and will serve as a designated hitter for 4 to 5 times a week. He's healthy and is making his return to the mound after Tommy John surgery. He'll be up against Mike Fiers. Fiers enters the 2020 season looking to replicate his success in 2019, which saw him put together a career-best season as he went 15-4 with a 3.9 ERA over 33 starts. AK for Ohtani on FanDuel. You got to like that price, right? Here's a guy that does have a lot of hype and skill and potential, and that's one of those lower-risk spots for him. The caveat here is he didn't pitch last year. So much like Garrett Richards and guys like that, we're kind of banking on stats from 2 years ago. But Ohtani, he played last year as a hitter. He was healthy, right? So I'm not too concerned about the health part. And this is an Athletics team that does strike out enough to let me play Dylan Bundy, and it's a plus park in Oakland. 27%, 23, 25. 28. Like this is a lineup that strikes out a lot against right-handed pitchers. So I can certainly get some 8K shots on Ohtani on FanDuel and not feel like I'm going crazy. Again, I'm leaning more towards paying up today, but he certainly fits the bill of a guy that I don't mind playing. Mike Fiers is a contact pitcher, a sub 8% swing and strike rate last year, high Sierra, high xFIP. He's a great case of a guy that has a better ERA and win-loss record than maybe his skill suggests. A 5.48 xFIP last year against righties, 4.89 against lefties. Park helping him out, and an outstanding defense behind him helping him out. Sammy and Ramon Laureano, Matt Chapman. I mean, these guys were insane last year. So it's just one of those situations where Fires he's not as good as his front end metrics, his ERAs and his wins. So I don't have any built-in interest for him here. A decent hard contact rate, a little bit above average against lefties. High home run per nine against righties. I think Mike Trout was at the top of my bomb detector. Surprise, surprise. Second highest in my bomb detector. So Mike Trout certainly somebody that I don't mind going up there and getting today. And so far we haven't had that big Mike Trout game. And it'll be coming, right? Mike Fiers against Trout. Trout has 4 home runs in 29 at-bats against Fiers, batting .345. Also with 4 doubles. So he does have a nice plus history against him. So give me some Trout here, 4,400 on FanDuel. All day long. All day strong. And that's it. That's it for the overall slate. What I'll do here, if you guys want to throw your ideas, guys that you're on, or anything like that in chat, we'll chop it up for a minute. At the top of the hour, I gotta be in the RunDFS.com premium Discord, and we'll kind of keep the discussion going. If you guys want in on that, hit me up on Twitter, twitter.com/GundackerSports, and we can get you signed up. You guys see the prices and all that stuff. All you need is PayPal. Let's go back and fill in a couple of blanks here as we get some of these Sunday lineups, these Sunday afternoon lineups. What came out? We got the Orioles lineup that came out, right? So let's fill in the Orioles into the spreadsheet. Let's see what we're working with. We got Austin Hayes, Santander, Iglesias. Rio Ruiz is batting cleanup for the Orioles. Hanser Alberto. Chris Davis in that lineup. I'm telling y'all, I'm a little bit more curious with Davis today than I probably should be. Just based on the fact that he's facing a contact pitcher. That could be an issue. And Chris Davis was hitting some bombs in spring training. Just throwing it out there. What else came out? The Pirates came out. Let's get that plugged in. Adam Frazier leading off for the Pirates here. Reynolds, Josh Bell gets a bump to batting third. So he'll get that first inning guaranteed at bat, which is huge. That makes me like him just a little bit more. Colin Moran batting cleanup. Phillip Evans batting fifth. Jose Ozuna batting sixth. Gerard Dyson, a little speed in the bottom of the lineup. Jacob Stallings. And then Eric Gonzalez. I think he played for the Indians, I want to say, a couple seasons ago. Any other lineups came out while we were... That looks like it. All right. So what do you guys got on this slate? Let's get some ideas cooking here, right? What up, Smeezy? It's the crew chief. Smith says, might be more inclined to do it on small slates, though. Oh, Trout, Upton, Lista. Yeah, I can see that for sure. Moustakas just got scratched. No. Van Meter was already in the lineup, though. Let me see what I had. That is a downgrade for the stack here. We got Winker, Votto, Suarez, Castellanos is going to be bad cleanup now. Van Meter, Shogo Akiyama, Nick Senzel, Freddie Galvis, and Kirk Casale. Remember, they do have Aquino up too. So Moose would have been definitely a bat that I like to pick on Turnbull with. But good catch there. What else we got? 2 to 4 innings for Snell. Okay, that pulls him out of my interest. Donald says, what pitchers do you like besides Grinky or Bauer? So, if we go pull up that pitcher metric chart and sort it from lowest Sierra to highest from last season, I have a curious interest in Mitch Keller. And we talked about it. If you guys are tuning in late, Mitch Keller is one of the guys who his ERA was not reflective of the advanced metrics. The metrics say he's way better than his ERA. Just like we just talked about, Mike Fiers is worse than his ERA. Mitch Keller was one of those guys that is better than. He had a 7.13 ERA with a 3.78 xFIP, a 3.78 Sierra, a 3.47 xFIP, and a decent swing and strike rate. He had like a 500 batting average on balls in play allowed last year, and that's just unsustainable. So we put him in a pitcher's park today. at 6.5K on FanDuel. I'm willing to take that shot on him. And I think if like a guy like Vince Velasquez got a little trendy, because he tends to do it, I love him as a pivot at that price point. Just to take that shot, right? Other pitchers we might like today, if we look at that metric chart. Carrasco's interesting. I don't think I'm going to get there, but he's interesting. Obviously, love Grinky, love Bauer. Zach Gallen on the FanDuel slate I'm curious with, but I'm not in love with him. And that's pretty much it. I don't have a whole lot of high invested interest in getting too creative at pitcher outside of Grinky, Bauer, and a little bit of Mitch Keller. I wouldn't think you're wild for taking a shot on Kluber either. I'm keeping my pitching pool tight today. Tight. Chatwood, more of a guy who gets walked and single to death, but hot weather and wind, yeah, could be a recipe for disaster. I'm also curious to see if there's a lot of hype that gets built on the win there, you know. Anyway, hey, if you guys are watching this and you're not too familiar with the Discord or what Discord is actually, it looks like this. You can download it on your desktop, on your mobile device, and we have a 24/7 channels where they're talking everything, man. They're talking MMA yesterday. We're talking football. We're talking basketball coming later this week. We have my spreadsheets linked for every sport that I run. And then in about, 9:20? About 40 minutes, I'll be in this voice chat right here. And the gang will be all drinking their coffee, shooting the breeze, having some fun, getting ready. If you guys want to be part of that or listen in on that, you're more than welcome to. It's a good way to support the stream, support me, the channel. Just hit me up on Twitter, twitter.com/GundeckerSports. And that'll get you Discord access, and it'll get you access to the spreadsheets where you guys can navigate, do your own research. Like I personally list my player pool and what I'm running with, but I think the sheet is a great vehicle for you guys to do your own research, and really I don't need to hold your hand. You guys can see the pitch reports, the metric charts, the bomb detectors, all that good stuff. So I love this tool. I think it's one of the best things I've ever done for DFS is create this spreadsheet. And I know a lot of you guys that have been longtime subscribers are big fans of it as well. The Rays lineup came out. All right. Red Sox lineup came out as well. So we'll get that typed in. Wouldn't it be crazy if like JD Martinez wasn't playing? That would just be nuts, right? Jose Peraza is leading off. Wow, it gets worse. Okay. So Jose Peraza just probably shoots up in ownership. I know he dudded yesterday, but wow, is he too cheap on both sites as a leadoff guy in that total. So Jose Peraza might actually be higher owned than JD Martinez, if that makes sense. Because I think, is Peraza dual position? No, he's only second base, right? He might be, I don't know. Bogarts is batting cleanup. All right, I tell you what, this 1 through 5 makes me feel a little bit better than I thought it was going to earlier. Alex Verdugo cracks the lineup today. Michael Chavis batting 8th. Jackie Bradley Jr. Dude, I can't type today. Left. I had a puppy that chewed up my other keyboard, and I haven't replaced it yet. Red Sox lineup out, and then the Rays, right? All right, so I like that Red Sox lineup a lot, but that's not anything groundbreaking. Rays and Blue Jays. Here we go. So the Rays lineup's going to look like G-Man Choi, Brennan Lau, Yandy Diaz, Jose Martinez batting cleanup, no Yoshi, Kevin Kiermaier batting 5th, Manuel Margot, who I already had there, didn't need to do that, Hunter Renfroe, Willie Adames, and Mike Zunino. So that's your Rays lineup against Hatch. Nothing really changes for me. Jose Martinez is a cheap cleanup hitter. He's priced all the way up on DraftKings, though. That's wild, huh? Mega match. Yeah, Red Sox are going to be so nuts ownership-wise. Peraza was 2 position eligible for me yesterday. Yeah, second base shortstop. I think he'll be the highest owned player on the slate. I feel like he has to be, just because he's dual position, and he's that cheap. He'll probably be my highest owned player easily. Anyway, that's it, right? That's it. That's it, man. I appreciate you guys waking up with me on a Sunday. So tomorrow, how do we do tomorrow's content? I don't know. You guys like these MLB live streams? I've been posting videos, but you guys like these streams? I wonder if we can work it to stream daily, huh? So Monday is a little bit more normal. Kind of. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games before usual lock. And then a 7-game main slate. Even if I didn't stream, do you guys like analysis for these other games? Like, if I put up a video tomorrow, like, I don't know. Interesting, huh? Interesting. Anyway, that's our look at today's main slate. Later on tonight, there's going to be 2 games. The Braves at the Mets. Sean Newcomb scheduled to face Rick Porcello. And then who knows who's pitching for the Giants. Might be Jeff Samardzija taking on Julio Urias of the Dodgers. And the Dodgers will look to take the tiebreaker there. I guess there would probably be a showdown for either of those games. It's over 90 degrees in New York today, really? Wow. It's hot out there. Hope you guys are staying cool. I'm going to be in that RunDFS.com Discord in just a little bit. If you guys want to get onboarded, hit me up on Twitter. I appreciate you guys chilling with me, man. I love each and every one of you. I hope you win a whole bunch of money today. Look out. I'll probably tweet about plans for content for tomorrow's slate. I don't know if we'll do a live stream or not, but maybe. And if I do, I'll let you guys know. I'll see you guys later. Hit that thumbs up if you want to show me some love before you get out of here. And if you're on Twitter, man, share, retweet my video tweet, man. I appreciate that. I love you guys. Good luck.